Continues live from Provo, Utah, alongside Blaine Fowler and Jonathan Tavernari. I'm Spencer Linton. BYU basketball at the Big 12 tournament, trailing Texas Tech 12-2. Early in the game, 15:55 to play. We just saw Darian Williams, good player for the Red Raiders, hobble off the court. How does that impact what could potentially happen today? Texas Tech already missing their big man, Warren Washington, as well.
Yeah, so this is another big. This is a forward that's a rebounder, a guy with size. To me, that is attack, go to the rim, get to the free throw line. You've got to limit. Then BYU's had some backcourt turnovers again. Like they just the last score for Texas Tech was a turnover way out away from the basket that turned into a run out on the other end. BYU eventually start making shots. This second wave of players that come in that just came out off the bench on this last timeout, the Richie Saunders, the Jackson Robinson, the Fus Traore.
Oh, yeah, all three bench players.
When those three bench players come in, they, first off, have more energy than anybody you leave in the game for your first line. And anybody you bring off the bench, they are better than. It's the best second group in college basketball right now. So this is where BYU should make a run. This is where they can have more energy. This is where they can make shots. And what does Jackson Robinson do in this game? Comes right off the bench and knocks down a three.
That's his game. 14-5, by the way, after Jackson Robinson knocks
and then Richie Saunders comes off the bench and knocks down a three. And that's what I'm talking about.
And my favorite thing about this is both times the type of set plays that they ran, they were trying to look for Fus on the block. So, which I love it.
Working through the post.
Working through the post. I think that, and what did Texas Tech do? And I know there was a turnover, but what did Texas Tech do? They absolutely went and double Fus. And so you get them in a position on the block, they're going to double. If there's two people on you, somebody's going to be wide open.
So there's a scenario here where BYU, for the first time, if they win this game, they would win 3 games in the Big 12 for the first time all season. It hasn't happened.
Right, 3 in a row.
This would be unique for sure. We were talking about seeding lines. Blaine, you're of the opinion that if BYU beats Texas Tech today, they now become a legitimate 4-seed potential here in March Madness. Is there anything better that BYU could do? Let's say that they win this game and then pull a shocker and beat Houston or TCU, whoever it is, and get to the championship game. Can BYU do better than a 4-seed, or is that the ceiling right now?
I think that there's an outside chance they could be a 3 if they win the Big 12 tournament.
Okay, it's going to
take short of I don't think you can beat Houston, although that would be beating the number 1 team in the country, right? But beat Houston and move up higher than a 4. I think you just play Houston and you got a chance to be a 4. You beat Houston, I think you are a 4 for sure. But I think if you go lose in the championship game, say to Iowa State in the championship game, I think you stay a 4. You win the championship. Now the committee's got to go, oh, wait a minute here. This team just won the tournament? We got to rethink this. We had them as a 5. We thought about moving them to a 4, but none of us expected them to beat the number 1 team in the country and to beat Iowa State, who also is highly, highly regarded. They may be a 3. There would be a discussion about them being a 3.
Which is just wild.
Listen, if you can win a game, you win a game, right? You just don't, you don't pull a Kansas and just rest your best players. Sorry, Colton, I need some water. But so you don't. Obviously, we don't do that. I will say, however, that if they can win this game, let's just say if they lose this game, I think they're guaranteed to be the top 5th seed in the whole field.
Okay.
If they can win this game, I think that at that point it becomes what we were talking about at the break. What happens to the other 4 seeds, the other 3 seeds, and so on, for them to maybe be, the last 4 seed or, the third 4 seed or whatever the case may be. But I wouldn't go as far as say I would like to also be Houston and go to the tournament, the Big 12 tournament championship game. And here's why. I think that if you can give Ali Khalifa and some of these other guys almost a 3, 4, 5 day rest before you play next Thursday, I think that's become massive, right?
You'd almost rather have them lose then, because is there really that big of a difference, right, Jonathan?
That's my point. For them to be able to even move a line, like we're talking about, for them to be a 3 seed, everything, the planets would have to align, we'd have solar eclipse and just be able to be in a situation where, they're a 3 seed, right? But that's a lot of what ifs. And so I, at this point, much rather have a situation where we know we're a lock in the NCAA tournament. Do matchups really matter when you're at 4 or 5, maybe a 6? But we know we're not a 6. But the point is, you can then have a chance to move to the second round and then have the guys ready for, maybe win the second round and go to the Sweet 16. And so is winning this game vital for BYU? I don't think so. I think it's great. Definitely I would be, if I had a choice, I wouldn't try to, want to be Houston and go to the championship. These guys are going to be exhausted by Thursday. And I'm thinking about Ali Khalifa and the amazing thing he is doing with,
fasting and
Ramadan.
Yes, yes.
That's my perspective.
You said you felt a real spiritual connection to that.
It was incredible. I mean, I was in a car, I was listening. It really, I could feel the spirit, right? And this BYUtv, we can bear our testimonies. And
right,
great.
Sure.
And so it was really I really felt it. I called my wife. My wife, she worked for the government. She read the Quran and she speaks Arabic. The Middle Eastern culture is very close to her heart. And it was just one of those things that it really touched me to see his faith and the way that he approached it and talk about it openly. It's great, right? And it's what we're all about. The world is our campus. Enter to learn, go forth to serve. And to see somebody of a different faith come in, but with the same idea of, how can I make the world a better place and make it, a more beautiful place for everybody. That was really something that really touched me.
11:56 to play in the first half. Texas Tech with a 22-11 lead on BYU. Blaine, I don't know if it's going to matter whether BYU is a 4 or 5. You would think it shouldn't impact location, right? Because the 4 and the 5 are together. I don't know how the committee is going to work it out. Like, well, if BYU is a 5 seed, then maybe we don't reward them with regionality and they're going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it feels like Pittsburgh or Salt Lake City.
But if they've earned a 4, then maybe we do put them. They've earned that region tie, and we put them in Salt Lake City. I'm interested to hear your opinion on what you think the committee will do with the regions.
I do think they like to keep teams as close to home as they possibly can. It's good.
Typically, yes.
It's good for the tournament because it's good for attendance, right?
Does it impact BYU, however, though? Because Joe Lunardi has talked about this multiple times on our program. Sometimes the committee will be like, well, BYU's not willing to play.
We have to accommodate the Thursday, Saturday thing.
Maybe we got to slide them a line or we got to push them somewhere else.
That's why I think it's important, as Jonathan says, you're a solid 5, even if you lose, you're the number 1 5. Do you go, well, we're going to move them because they're a Thursday, Saturday? Not if they're the number 1 seed in that. If they're the number 1 5 seed or a 4 seed, I think you leave them in Salt Lake City. So, and it's interesting. You mentioned Kansas. Kansas's mentality is we're in the tournament. We got guys that are hurt but could play. They're not playing. We don't care about the Big 12 tournament. We won that a bazillion times.
Yeah.
We care about next week, so we'll rest them. So there's something to be said for what Jonathan's talking about. I would love to see him win this game, and then I don't really care if they beat Houston. Because I like the idea of having a rest, and I don't think it matters.
Like having almost a full week of rest.
About this game, though, they got to stop. Let 6 straight points for Texas Tech on second chance rebounds.
There you go. All right, we're going to take our final break, come back with some quick thoughts as we wrap up another unique edition of BYU Sports Nation. It's game day. Quarterfinals for BYU in Kansas City. We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere.